If you don't know what fly fishing is, I'm going to show you.
And if you're a fly fishing enthusiast, we're going to introduce you to a treasure trove of resources.
And you might be surprised where it takes place.
This is the town of Elmer in southwest Oklahoma. It's in a region known for cattle and cotton and not a lot of water.
Funny enough, lack of water is where this story begins.
2 years ago, Alex set out with a goal. He wanted to catch a fish in every county in Oklahoma. That's 77 counties with 12 distinct ecoregions, covering 69,000 square miles.
We have some parts of the state that look like this.
And some parts, they look like this.
Which brings us to Jackson County and our quest for a fish there.
Our first trip to Jackson County, we planned to fish this city lake, but when we got there, it looked like this.
With even less water, it was bone dry and under renovation.
None of our other resources for finding public water turned up anything else that wasn't dry. That's when we got connected with Shannon Olson, owner of I've Got Bugs, who was eager to help Alex out. Not only does he have his own pond, he teaches people to fly fish and makes and sells fly ties. Shannon built this casting pond 4 years ago. It has depths to 20 feet and is stocked with bass, carp, bluegill, catfish, and more. He even keeps tilapia in the summer and trout in the winter.
Look at them all go, man.
Fish are fighting a duck. Ducks are fighting a fish. Oh my God, they're all swarming.
See out there, there's a great big one. It'll spin up here in just a minute. See it coming towards us?
And they're all going in circles.
Yeah, they're looking for food because normally I'll feed them more. But there's some great big grass carp in here. And there's one of them. See it right there?
Yeah, I see really big ones.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I was fly fishing in Jackson County. If you don't know what fly fishing is, I have a quick explanation.
With traditional tackle, the lures have some weight to them, which gives them inertia and makes them easier to throw. A fishing rod adds leverage and some stored energy by way of the rod bending and allows us to throw the lure even farther. But the flies used in fly fishing are very lightweight. Throwing them is very hard and you can't throw them very far. So fly fishing uses a heavier line and uses the action of the rod to build momentum and let the line and attached fly out gradually over several back and forth arm motions.
I can't throw a regular fishing line very far. But I can throw a heavier line, especially with the right motion. No, look at that. It literally spins around.
So conventional fishing is with a light line and a relatively heavy lure. Fly fishing is with a heavier line and a very lightweight lure that mimics insects.
It's basically where we're going to take, and we take feathers and fur and we make flies that mimic the insect's diet, okay? So we call it matching the hatch. So fish, their number one diet we all think is minnows and stuff like that, but one of the main things fish eat are insects. So what we do is we try to mimic those insects. And we tie flies and then we'll go out there fishing. And when you fish with a fly rod is a lightweight rod. And it casts the line. See how this line is different than a regular line? When you're casting a regular rod, you're casting the weight of the lure or your sinker or your bait. When you cast a fly rod, you're casting the line. So I can cast this fly rod with no bait on it just as far as I can with anything on it. So what we do is we use really lightweight lures that we make, that we call flies, and we cast them out there, but the line is what's casting it. So at the end, we put what's called a leader that is actually like the fishing line that we use when we regularly fish. Back forward. And I want you to kind of learn to cast a couple times before we put bait on it, but you're not going to not be able to catch a fish out here. So what we'll do is I'm going to reel this in a little bit, and then just pull straight up. Go back, shoot. I'm not. straight up and stop, perfect, and then forward. Absolutely perfect. Are you sure you haven't fly fished before? Okay, now you're not casting forward like you are on a regular line. Of the time, an insect lives either in the ground or in the water, depending what kind they are. And then they come up out of the ground or the water, and they live for a few days and they die. So the majority of an insect's life is in the water. Like a mosquito, they spend more of their time in the water than they do in the air. So that's what they call larvae, and the little wiggly looking things like that. So you can see what the larvae look like. Then they'll grow up into little emergers where they start to get their legs and everything, and then that's when they come out of the water and they start making something. So we try to mimic all lifestyles and of all the insects. Then we have our terrestrials, like the cicada hatch going on now where everybody's having them. You know, we have little cicadas that will fish, and they're phenomenal. Or like grasshoppers out here right now, we have a bunch of grasshoppers, so grasshoppers work good. And when it gets wet, it'll kind of like mimic a minnow in the water, so you can actually still fish with like a minnow looking pattern. So you can make flies that look like almost anything. So and then just cast and you let it go. Then just pull that line.
Gotta pull the line. There you go.
Oh, the bass is.
Oh! Came out.
See how much more fight there is in that?
Oh, nice size bluegill, buddy. All right, swing him over here for Mr. Shannon.
Can I get a picture of him? Do you mind if I have one?
Oh, no, please, go ahead.
That's Jackson County, checked off of a fly rod. But since Mr. Olson helped me get a good hook set, I caught another one with conventional tackle all on my own.
In this video, we've only scratched the surface of fly fishing and of I've Got Bugs. I encourage you to visit his website and his YouTube channel to find out more about the many things that Shannon does. You'll find a lot of great resources.
Who knows? You may end up going fly fishing in Elmer, Oklahoma. We had a great time on this adventure. See you on our next adventure.